Scrappy Peeps, Suzanna here today to share with you this New Year's Eve layout. These are black and white pictures of my kids drinking special drinks that my husband made, and I use that sequence mix from SpiegelMom Scraps, and it is called Sparkle Ever After. So I used some of the Shimmerz from the SpiegelMom Scrap store to create this background. As I was originally making this layout, my plan was to create the background, cut a second star out of it. But I realized that once you cut the star out of it, you were going to see far less of the detail, and I actually liked it as a background. So I started out with my lightest color first, which was this Shimmerz, and I think it's called Angel Wings. It's a white, and because I always start with my lightest first, and then I realized, well, I'm putting white on white, so that isn't really going to work. So I saved that and started with my next lightest color, which again is a Blingz. Sorry, not a Shimmerz, a Blingz. And I used the Hi-Ho Silver, and I used some water to sort of just thin that down a little bit to start with my base layer or my base color as the lightest color, and then build darker colors on that. I am just using the packaging technique, just smushing color here and there to create a background. I love the way that this background ends up looking like a night sky, sort of. So then my next darkest color is a Spritz called Chance of Rain, and that's more of a gray silver. And I love the way that you get these gradations in color, the darks and the lights. And again, I didn't really, I just smushed color down. This darkest color is called Before Dark. It's more of a black. It's a Vibez product from Shimmerz, and it literally is very black. And you can see where the water doesn't mix, how it sort of creates more droplets, and I kind of like that effect. So then I took that white that I had been playing with when I first started and just put big old blobs on top of the silvers and the blacks, and again just to create a sort of a night sky effect with that white in there. And then I wanted a little bit more black, and so I just took the mist pump and put some mist splatters on top of that as well. I did not prime this piece of pattern paper, or actually cardstock, not pattern paper, so I just kind of had to let that dry, and I decided that because I wasn't cutting it out, you can see I had cut out a template there to cut it out. I wanted to do a second star, and I was going to hand stitch that star in black. My star actually has those flat ends in it, just like that silver star there, and so what I'm doing here is I'm just erasing those angulated ends and putting in the pointy ends. So pardon me while I run upstairs, and there's the finished stitched stars. I just kind of overlapped a second star. And because this is mixed media and the paper has buckled a little bit, I have an extra amount of adhesive in order to make sure that I don't actually get too much buckling in the page once it's adhered down to the black cardstock. I really like the background that I chose, but I also really like the way that the little thin black outline there sort of pops the star and the rest of the black in the layout. So I just pushed that down to make sure that everything was well adhered, and then the original white background, I pulled everything off. Well, I didn't actually adhere anything. It was more to see the effect of it. And then I'm going to put down that white star that I cut with my silhouette. It's just a star shape that I used the outline function for, and that's what I got. And the silver shimmery paper that I used is I believe it's POW from American Crafts. And so I'm just going to lay that down in the center of my stitched stars, and I'm not going to worry too much about covering all of this fun mixed media, because it's great the the illusion of the stars, and I have a couple of fun other elements. So these pictures are 4x3. I need to trim down the borders just a little bit because when I print two side-by-side 4x3s on my my printer, I don't always get the proportions that I want, which is fine because I allow for that. And I knew I wanted that gray and white tag. That's from Teresa Collins, just stuff that I've pulled from my stash, knowing that I wanted black and whites and gray and whites and silvers. And so I have a folder full of black and white outcasts or scraps, and they're not outcasts. I use a lot of black and white, and so I have pulled this folder here to just sort of find some paper layers for behind this picture, these pictures. So my original intent was I was going to put those black and white dots on the left-hand side and then the tag on the right-hand side. But once I get this big title in, I realize, and it's a good thing that I didn't stick these things down, that I really didn't need that black in there. So I found this from a 6x6 paper pad. I believe this is from Pink Paisley. It's the collection with the moon on it, whose name I can't remember off the top of my head. So I backed my picture of my daughter with that, and then I have that's from crepe paper, again just scraps left over, but perfect for the backing of that photo there. They are light mattes because I don't want anything too dark. The pictures are pretty dark against that mixed media background as it is. And then I had pre-cut this digital cut file that I found in the Silhouette store that says Ring in the New Year. All files are actually on sale currently, and it is cut file number 228184 from Skyla Design, if you wanted to find that yourself. So I had cut that already, and so what I do is I just use the negative to put the positive onto the page. Not that there's really a whole lot of difficulty lining it up, but that way I was able to see how I wanted it to go and the end result that I was going to get there. So I put in ring and in using this way, and then I decide that it's too fussy and I just stick the letters down as it is. So the phrase runs ring in, new line, the new line, and year, but it wasn't going to work the way that I had laid out my photos. And retrospectively, everything is shifted down a little bit lower with a lot of empty space at the top of the layout, and I would have liked to have just a little bit more empty space underneath, but I was not about to shift everything up, and so I just made what I had done work. And it looks fine. I don't think I was able to pull other elements to the top of the page to kind of provide some balance to the layout, but it was not what would have been instinctive for me to do. So there is New Year, and I actually prefer those words together. And they overlap the photos a little bit, which sort of just ties everything in together. And I really like this black and white sort of monochromatic with some silver page. We are not glamour and festive, but we certainly try to have fun for these kids, and it's sort of the fun, the stars and the frolicking of the stars sort of set the tone for that festive occasion. So I'm just using my Prima glue pen to adhere these letters down and a scrap piece of paper so that I don't get glue all over my desk. And that is the base of the layout. So I am able to continue to use this tag as I had intended. I just have to switch it the other way because the now blocks where I was originally going to put the tag. And I have these hearts from SpiegelMom that add a little bit more silver. And these are more of a shimmery silver than a glittery silver. And I wanted to put a few more elements on the page. So these stickers are black and white stickers that you could color in. They're from Vicky Boutin. And I love the way that that banner sits on the top of sort of that blob of gray and sort of softens that transition from the gray to the white there. And then I have this one phrase that says happening right now that I put up the top to sort of soften that transition from the dark to the white. And really that's all I pull out of there, because I want more stars on this page. And so I'm going to go to these Hero Art stars with my Versa fine black ink and just stamp 3 of the trios. Well, they're not exactly trios. There's the intent of trios of these different size stars onto the page there. And by putting these stars in and then the sequence at the end of the video, I'm able to take the weight from the bottom 2/3 of that layout and kind of soften it and bring it up to the top a little bit. So this is just an outline star. And that is going to be it for the stars. I did off camera find some black and white Puffy Heidi swap stickers that I put onto the layout. There's going to be one that says great that's near that star on the top left there, and then a little black arrow. So that, and then I put those 2 silver hearts next to each of the kids there. So this is the SpiegelMom Scraps Sparkle Ever After sequence mix, and I love that these sequins, if you look closely in the close-ups, the black, there's a black and silver, they're like polka dotted sequins, which is so cool and unique, and again adds a little bit of black to the page, and as I said before, sort of soften that weight at the bottom 2/3 of the layout there. So I'm just going to put these down. These are not actually in trios, which is unusual for me, and I'm going to speed this part up because this is literally me just using my Scotch Quick Dry to adhere these sequins down onto the page. I do like to lay them out ahead of time and then just quickly run through with the glue and get them all adhered down. Now I tried to avoid buckles in the pages, but there were a couple of things that pulled up, so I will also go in and use that glue to adhere that down a little bit further. What I love about this page is that yes, it's a New Year's page and it's a celebration page, but really it's just more of a celebration than it is New Year's, and it shows you what fun things you can do with mixed media if you sort of just break out of your comfort zone and you don't have to have stencils. You can do whatever you like, and how the mixed media creates just a fun background for any layout that you really choose to work on. So there's the sequence going down, and talking about dating your stash, these letters that I found from Making Memories are from 2008. My original plan had been to put them up in that banner up the top there, but they didn't fit. They were, I could have made them work, but I actually kind of like the tone on tone near New Year for 2007, because this was the kids in 2016 going into 2017. And so I had to get my tweezers out. So that, my scrappy friends, is my New Year's Eve layout created using some SpiegelMom Scraps goodies, a cut file, and some other miscellaneous things. Tomorrow is going to be the first day of the end of year blog hop, so make sure to come back and join us for that. I do have a prize up for grabs. I want to thank each and every one of you who have stopped in over the year and supported me and subscribed to my channel. It has been a great adventure for me, and I look forward to another year. Thanks for stopping in today. Take care.